What's good, CTers? Y'all knew this one was coming. Today we're checking in on one of the most dominant crews of the 2000s and 2010s, Young Money Records. From mixtape legends to global superstars, this label gave us a whole new generation of talent that took over everything from rap to pop to reality TV. We're breaking down who's still running it up, who stepped away from the spotlight, and who made moves outside of music. Some names you already know, others might surprise you, but either way, we're giving you the full update Young Money style. And since we're talking YM, you know the roots go all the way back to Cash Money. So it's only right we plug our Cash Money Raised Me hoodies and tees available now on the site. Tap in and rep the legacy with us. Now make sure you subscribe, like the video, and hit up our Patreon for exclusive reactions. Let's get to it. Lil Chucky. Lil Chucky came into the game as Young Money's youngest in charge. Baby dreadlocks, New Orleans accent, and cosigns from Wayne had folks thinking he was next up. You probably remember him from the Bedrock video or popping up on mixtapes looking like YM's next kid prodigy. But while the look and energy were there, the rollout never fully happened. He never dropped a solo album under Young Money, and by 2014 he confirmed he had parted ways with the label. Since then, he stayed active independently, releasing music, doing features, and popping up in a few low-key acting roles. He also tapped into philanthropy, throwing community events in New Orleans and trying to be a role model for the next wave. Chucky's not the viral name he once was, but he stayed true to the grind, still putting out music and staying connected to the culture without chasing headlines. He's proof that even if the major label push stalls, there's always a way to carve out your own lane if the love is still there. Lil Twist. Lil Twist had the potential to be the face of teen rap in early 2010s. He had the Young Money cosign, close ties with Justin Bieber, and a flashy lifestyle that kept him in the blogs. But the music never fully delivered the way the image did. His debut album, Don't Get It Twisted, was announced but never dropped, despite a few singles and a lot of label hype. Things took a sharp turn when Twist caught a string of legal issues, including a jail sentence related to an assault and burglary case in 2016. It put a pause on everything: music, touring, and industry momentum. After his release, he made some noise again by appearing on Growing Up Hip Hop, where he showed more of his personal life and spoke candidly about his experience in the industry. He also dropped some independent music and stayed connected through podcasts and online appearances. Twist may not have been the star YM hoped he'd be, but he still got a fan base and a story that resonates. If nothing else, he's a cautionary tale about what happens when the fame hits before the foundation is fully set. Jay Mills. Jay Mills came into Young Money with real rap credentials. Before signing with Wayne, he was already a Harlem mixtape legend and one of the early battle rap pioneers to flirt with mainstream success. His buzz was undeniable. From No 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 to holding his own in cyphers, he was supposed to be that guy. But even after signing with YM and appearing on group records like Every Girl and Finale, the solo album never dropped. Mills spent years in a holding pattern, features, mixtapes, verses on squad cuts, but no major release ever saw daylight. Eventually, he left Young Money and went back to what he does best: bars. He remained consistent on the indie scene, putting out projects like Wood Panel Walls, Property of Potentness, and collaborating with fellow spitters like Vado and Dave East. In 2021, he even returned to the battle rap scene, stepping into the ring after a decade-long hiatus. Mills never lost a step lyrically, he just never got the industry rollout he deserved. These days, he's for the bar heads and purists who know pen game over popularity still matters. Corey Gunz. Corey Gunz had all the makings of a breakout star. Son of Bronx legend Peter Gunz, he had the pedigree, the flow, and the cosigns. His verse on Lil Wayne's 6 Foot 7 Foot was the perfect introduction to the mainstream. Fast, punchy, and technical. Everyone thought that was the moment when things would take off. In 2011, Corey got his own spotlight with Son of a Gun, a reality docuseries executive produced by Nick Cannon that followed his Young Money journey and grind after signing. The exposure showed him navigating the highs and lows, label meetings one day, dad's advice and new song cuts the next. But after that, the momentum didn't translate. He dropped a few mixtapes, but a full studio project never arrived. Part of it was label politics, part of it was timing, and some of it was Corey staying true to a lyrical style that didn't always match radio trends. In the years since, Corey stayed in the cut, dropping verses, popping up on features, and staying tapped in with the underground New York scene. He's a regular in the studio and still sharp with the bars, even if the industry spotlight has moved on. Even staying loyal to Wayne as he was just reintroduced on the new Young Money roster. Look, Guns may not have reached his full commercial potential, but the skills were, and still are, undeniable. Ask any real rap fan and they'll tell you, Corey Guns can rap. Tyga. Tyga had one of the more unconventional runs in Young Money. Originally bubbling through the Gym Class Heroes connection and early mixtapes, he officially signed with YM and dropped Careless World Rise of the Last King in 2012. The album went gold, powered by the massive hit Rack City, and it looked like Tyga was on the way to a top-tier status. But tension started to build. Between delays and creative control, Tyga began voicing his frustration with Young Money publicly. By the time he left the label, he had cooled off a bit, only to later mount one of the best comebacks in rap with 2018's Taste. That single revived his career and sparked a second wave, giving him consistent radio hits, club records, and crossover appeal. Tyga's now more of a brand than just a rapper, tapping into fashion, adult entertainment ventures, and licensing deals. His music lane is fun, flashy, and often criticized, but hey, it works. He knows his audience and he plays to it well. Say what you want, but Tyga stayed relevant long after many counted him out, and that's not easy in today's rap climate. Gutta Gutta. Gutta Gutta was one of the most loyal soldiers in the Young Money army. A day one with Wayne since the Squad Up days, he's never had industry polish. But his raspy voice and raw flow made him a standout on posse cuts. While others chased the spotlight, Gutta stayed in the trenches. He never released a studio album under Young Money, but his Guttaville mixtape series earned him underground respect, especially in the South. He was less about charting hits and more about repping the movement. Fans knew if Gutta showed up, the record was getting that street edge. Over the years, he's popped up on various Wayne projects and occasional Young Money compilations, but for the most part, he's kept it low-key. Rumors of new music surface every now and then, but he seems more focused on business and mentorship than chasing trends. Gutta Gutta might not have had the crossover moment like some of his label mates, but his presence was felt. He helped define that early YM sound and stayed solid through all the shifts. Every crew needs a real one like Gutta. No gimmicks, just bars. Chanel. Chanel, also known as SNL, was the artistic outlier in the Young Money lineup. As a singer-songwriter, she brought something different to the crew. More experimental R&B with edgy visuals and theatrical vibes. You probably remember her from the Prom Queen era with Wayne, where she helped push that rock-rap crossover movement. Though her name wasn't as loud as Nicki's or Drake's, she was all over early YM records, writing, singing hooks, and shaping songs behind the scenes. Her solo material, like the Nobody's Bitch mixtapes and Midnight Mimosas, showed she had real talent, but the rollout never matched the potential. Post Young Money, Chanel kept the indie grind going, still releasing music, directing visuals, and performing live shows for a loyal fan base. She's also continued writing for other artists, which is where a lot of her influence still lingers. Chanel was never chasing mainstream stardom. She's more about the art, and in that sense, she delivered. Her time in Young Money may have flown under the radar, but her pen and creative vision helped give the label a broader sound. If you know, you know. Chanel West Coast. Chanel West Coast was one of the more surprising names attached to Young Money. Originally gaining fame as a personality on MTV's Fantasy Factory and Ridiculousness, she later signed to Wayne's label around 2012. It felt like a wild card move, a TV star turned rapper, but Young Money saw potential. She released a few singles and the Now You Know mixtape, aiming to prove she was more than a TV personality. While she had a decent buzz, critics never fully bought in, and her rap career never really took off. Still, she stayed in the mix, dropping music here and there, but mostly continuing to shine on Ridiculousness, which became a cultural staple. In recent years, Chanel pivoted more into fashion and entrepreneurship. She launched her own clothing line, dropped a few independent projects like America's Sweetheart. The music may not have charted, but she's built a steady brand. Chanel West Coast wasn't YM's breakout star, but she played her role, made the most of the spotlight, and flipped it into long-term visibility. Not bad for someone who started out as a receptionist on MTV. Mac Main. Mac Main might have had some solid bars, but his real power came behind the scenes. As one of Lil Wayne's closest friends and a fellow New Orleans native, he was there from the beginning, and eventually became president of Young Money. While he dropped some solid mixtapes and verses on posse cuts, he gradually shifted his focus to the business side. As president, Mac was instrumental in managing YM's roster, helping guide careers like Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Tyga during their peak runs. While others were chasing hits, Mac was pulling the strings, keeping the label moving during uncertain times, including Wayne's public legal battles with Birdman and Cash Money. Despite his executive role, he never fully walked away from the mic. Every few years, he pops out with a freestyle or a feature to remind folks he still got it. But make no mistake, his biggest impact has been making sure Young Money stayed afloat while other crews folded. Today, Mac Main is still holding down the ship, quiet, consistent, and loyal to the soil. In an industry full of loud exits, Mac stayed 10 toes down, a real one who put the business first but never forgot where he came from.
You don't just listen to music, it shapes you. That vibe, that energy, that voice. Our Raised Me merch, it's all about honoring the albums that built the culture that built you. 8 legendary albums on every piece. A nod to the past, a flex for the future. Ready to rep your roots? Cop now at shop.culturalisttheory.com.
Drake. When Drake signed to Young Money, it was a gamble for all parties. A Canadian actor with the mixtape buzz doesn't exactly scream future GOAT, but So Far Gone proved he had something. By the time Thank Me Later dropped, he was already a star. And with each album since, he's built a run that's unmatched in modern rap. Take Care was the emotional breakthrough, Nothing Was the Same showed range, and If You're Reading This turned a surprise drop into a cultural moment. Drake didn't just deliver hits, he changed what rap could sound like. He blurred genre lines, championed global sounds, and turned vulnerability into power. His OVO brand grew right alongside him, launching artists, a clothing line, and OVO Fest, a yearly celebration of his empire. Today, Drake is arguably the biggest rap artist of the streaming era. Billboard records, sold-out arenas, memes, beefs, and viral bars, he's pretty much done it all. Whether you think he's still hungry or just having fun, his influence is permanent. And while he's long since outgrown the Young Money label, don't forget, he got his start on Wayne's cosign, one of the greatest talent acquisitions in hip-hop history, period, Nicki Minaj. When Nicki Minaj signed to Young Money, she wasn't just filling a slot. She reshaped what it meant to be a woman in mainstream hip-hop. Her early mixtapes had people talking, but Pink Friday was the moment. From Moment for Life to Super Bass, Nicki proved she could spit with the best and chart with the best. She balanced Barbie aesthetics with battle-tested bars, and every verse felt like a warning shot. Nicki didn't just hold it down for female rappers, she dominated the genre, period. Her features became cheat codes, her fan base, the Barbs, rode for her like no other, and for over a decade she had no real competition. She brought character, controversy, costumes, and charisma to every performance. After parting ways with Cash Money's Chaos, Nicki stays active. She dropped Queen and chart-topping features like Trolls, and most recently Pink Friday 2, reminding the game she's still elite. She's also stepped into motherhood, launched her own label, and is mentoring the next wave of artists. Through ups and downs, label drama, and industry tension, Nicki has remained unshakable. Now, whether she's rapping, trolling, or trendsetting, one thing is clear, there is no next Nicki Minaj. She broke the mold and still owns the blueprint. Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is the reason we're even talking about Young Money. He went from hot boy to global rap phenom, and after the Carter 3, instead of coasting, he built his own label and turned it into a dynasty. Signing Drake and Nicki changed the course of hip-hop forever, 2 artists who would go on to become icons in their own right. But Wayne's own journey didn't slow down. He dropped mixtapes that are now considered classics, toured non-stop, and continued building one of the strongest catalogs in rap. Legal battles with Birdman and Cash Money stalled the Carter 5 for years, but when it finally dropped in 2018, it reminded fans of just how much Wayne still had left in the tank. In recent years, Wayne has embraced more of a mentor and executive role, launching Young Money Radio, appearing on features for both legends and newcomers, and signing fresh talent to YM like Euro and Mellow Rex. He's clearly trying to breathe new life into the label, even if it hasn't quite caught fire like the original run. Still, Wayne's legacy is concrete. He changed how mixtapes worked, how rappers dressed, and how they rapped. Whether he's skating, podcasting, or killing a guest verse, he's always relevant. Young Money may have evolved, but Wayne remains the foundation, a one-of-one whose run may never be replicated. And while the Carter 6 came and went with a lukewarm response, it's clear Wayne isn't chasing charts anymore, he's chasing peace. That wraps up our check-in on Young Money. We've got Where Are They Now episodes on G-Unit, Rough Riders, DTP, hell, any label you can think of, we've probably done it. The same goes for our Raised Me merch. Support the channel by copying a hoodie or a tee. Link is in the description. Also, pull up to our Patreon for bonus content. You already know the drill. Like, subscribe, and tell us what label to do next. It's your man CJ for CT. I'm out.
Young Moolah,